I don't get TikTok. I just don't get it. I never have, and at this point I probably never will, which is honestly kind of embarrassing for me to admit considering A, I'm only 20 years old, so prime target audience right there. B, it is amazing for marketing, something me and my 3 diehards could absolutely benefit from. And C, they're obviously doing something right considering every social media platform has been scrambling to copy TikTok's success. But we are not here to talk about what an old man I'm becoming. We are here to talk about the music industry and the effect that this primal hallucinatory nightmare, silly app about children dancing, has had on it, because that is actually pretty interesting. Ever since TikTok's cultural takeover in 2018, and I guess more specifically ever since the bombs dropped, it's made the charts act as a revolving door. It's anyone's game in terms of which songs get popular, whether you're a relatively unknown up-and-comer or a seasoned veteran trying to replicate their success. But because anyone can make a hit now more than ever, there's a lot of shortcuts you can take, a lot of ways you can game the system, and from where I'm standing, it's getting to be a real problem. Not like an actual problem, just the kind I want to complain about because what else are YouTube videos good for? But let's rewind a little bit. Streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music are set up for album listening more than anything else. It's why artists will drop a 25-track record and then drop it again 3 days later with 2 extra songs. Economics 101, more streams equals more money. Or at least that used to be how it worked. Again, because of TikTok, there's been a shift back towards the single, because if you can make one song that a ton of people like, you've done the hard part. But again, it's a pretty easy system to exploit, and I can think of a couple different issues that are bound to arise whenever you try to make a viral TikTok song. And coincidentally, they're the same issues I have with every Subway sandwich I've ever eaten. Length, quality, and mouthfeel. Luckily for me, I have cherry-picked a few examples to help me illustrate my point, almost like this is some sort of YouTube video. Sorry, this is supposed to be the part where the transition. Big disclaimer time. Now, if it wasn't already implicit that everything that's about to come out of my mouth on my video on my channel is my opinion, please take solace in the fact that this is all coming from someone who still only half-ironically listens to Nightcore versions of Marina and the Diamond songs, which is to say that I have no right to tell anyone that their taste in music is shit. With that being said, I can't help but feel like Lil Nas X will always be an artist that's more interesting to talk about than he is to actually listen to. Let me elaborate. Lil Nas is incredibly important as an icon. We've had black queer musicians before, but never on a truly mainstream level, and to achieve this, he only had to make the most successful song of all fucking time. Old Town Road is arguably the first TikTok song ever, and its shadow looms large over everyone since, but let's call it what it is. It's a shitpost gone rabid. The fact that Old Town Road, a novelty song about riding horses, got as big as it did is insane, and what's even more insane is that he was able to beat the one-hit wonder accusations that followed. Fast forward to the release of his debut record, and I start to have issues. Montero is an okay first album, but there's a reason that less than a year after its release, it's more or less disappeared from the public consciousness. For one, the length, and I don't mean the length of the record as a whole, because 41 minutes is enough time to get the job done. I mean the length of the individual songs themselves, 2/3 of which aren't even able to clear the 3-minute mark. As soon as some of these tracks start to get interesting, they just stop. It's the audio equivalent of blue balls, and I can't help but ask myself, why? Is this genuinely the best they could do, or is it a problem born out of laziness? And I think we have our answer. For a song to get big on TikTok, you really only need like 15 seconds of content, so just do whatever else you want for the rest of the runtime, right? Give one singular verse, repeat the chorus 4 times, give Doja Cat 8 bars and not a second more. And speaking of... I'm confused, not just about everything in my life at any given time, this is a cry for help, oh god please help me, but specifically about Doja Cat and her place in the industry. Like Nas, of the miniature variety, she blew up off of a novelty joke song and the hits just haven't stopped coming for her. But since the release of her latest album, internally I've been asking myself, is this as big as it gets for Doja Cat? And I think the answer is yes. Planet Her is her 3rd studio album, and maybe I'm projecting a little here, but I kind of expected more out of it. I guess for me at least, the album with its star-studded tracklist and spacey aesthetics promised more than it delivered, but what it did prove to me is that Doja Cat is not an album artist. And I'm sure some of you are rolling your eyes right now thinking to yourself, well obviously, I don't know why you expected the woman who wrote Bitch I'm a Cow to create some grand space opera, and fair enough, but context is important. The tracklist on Hot Pink, her previous record, was absolutely pretty stacked, so I think expecting something more than just a handful of worthwhile songs for Planet Her is absolutely fair. In fact, I kinda see Hot Pink as a second teenage dream, a record which did so inexplicably well that basically anything that followed it would seem like a disappointment. And it might be difficult to call Planet Her a disappointment, especially considering how stupidly well it sold, but I definitely can't call the business model of crawling out of the sewers every couple of years to release 5 singles of varying quality a sustainable one. Just ask Katy Perry on how well that worked out for her. So yes, I think this is as big as it gets for Doja Cat. I hope I'm wrong though. She makes enough fun music and is unique enough that I think her place as a pop star elite is warranted. She also has a pretty loyal fan base, so maybe TikTok will end up being the thing that keeps Doja relevant, but who knows. I think it's way too early to tell if being a TikTok artist is viable in the long term, so I guess we'll see. But I want to shift focus to an artist who came up traditionally and has recently made their switch to cater to TikTok's algorithm. Charli XCX is one of the most important artists of the 2010s. This is not up for any kind of debate. For those out of the loop, you probably only recognize her as that one chick who really did not care that one time, or from that one time she got fancy with that blonde Australian woman. I think her name was Azalea Banks. Anyways, since then, she has completely dominated the underground pop scene, putting on countless artists, and depending on who you ask, has released 1 to 2 to 3 genre-defining classics. She's a veteran at this point, which makes her latest release all the more baffling to me. Earlier this year, Charli released her 5th studio album, Crash, and God, I wish I liked this thing more. I'm obviously in the minority here considering its critical reception, but to me, the record, which mostly consists of a bunch of 80s pastiches, feels so artificial, so plastic, so bland, so not Charli, to the point where it got my inner conspiracy nut going. This is the last album she made under her label's contract, right? So that must explain why it sounds so stock, right? Put something out, anything out, to appease the label. But if that's the case, why is she so vehemently defending the album on Twitter? It just doesn't make sense. But then it clicked. Crash may be the first album I've ever listened to made almost exclusively for TikTok. I can't rationalize it any other way. It explains why all the songs are so short and they really only work as jingles at best, just catchy enough to drill into your skull but not good enough for you to actually enjoy, and I feel like I'm rambling incoherently now. You know, more than I normally am. Let me give an example. Beg For You was released as one of the lead singles on this thing, and I think it exemplifies everything wrong with the record as a whole. Lyrically it's fine, I guess. It has a pretty good chorus, but structurally it's way too short and repetitive. It's like the song forgot it needs to build on ideas it introduces. Not to mention the bleep bloop synth line that acts as the song's hook, which honestly feels like it was pulled straight from a Watch Mojo video. It's a song so boring even Rina Sawayama can't save it, and that's how you know you fucked up. I feel like I'm coming off as way too negative because the record isn't all bad. In fact, some of the tracks I like have some of the same problems as Beg For You, which I know I'm a hypocrite, but I want to be honest about my feelings on the record, even if that means being honest to the point of contradiction. I genuinely don't know what's next for Charli. I can honestly see her next record to be something just like Crash, just as soon as I can see her making her next experimental masterpiece. I can tell you which one I prefer right now, but I guess we're just gonna have to wait to see where her priorities are at in the future. So I held out on making this video for a while, mostly because it doesn't really have a point. I mean, if you could even say that this video has a thesis, it would probably be, hey, don't do that anymore. I don't like it. Which I know is not a great thing to admit at the end of your YouTube video where you're trying to be taken seriously, but hey, on the off chance that any record executives are watching this, I have some advice. Hey, don't do that anymore. I don't like it.
It would be so awesome. It would be so cool